Fair game. Fair game, Scientology's tool for intimidation and control. Scientology employs a practice known as fair game, a policy and strategy created by its founder, L. Ron Hubbard, to target anyone the organization perceives as an enemy, whether they are current members, former members, journalists, or other critics. This systematic campaign includes harassment, defamation, surveillance, and intimidation, often carried out through direct actions by its intelligence branch, the Office of Special Affairs, OSA, by its members, or by hiring external operatives. Origins and policy framework. Fair game was institutionalized in the late 1950s and officially documented in numerous Scientology directives, including Hubbard Communications Office Policy Letters, HCOPL, Executive Directive, and the Manual of Justice. These policies explicitly instruct members and operatives to obliterate or neutralize perceived enemies, also referred to as suppressive persons, SPs. SP definition. SPs are labeled as enemies of Scientology for criticizing, leaving, or opposing the organization. These individuals are described as merchants of chaos, psychotics, or even cancer on society, and are deemed deserving of destruction. Policy justification. Suppressive persons are to be dealt with using any means necessary, including tricking, suing, lying to, or destroying them. This approach is designed to silence dissent, intimidate critics, and isolate members from external influences. Fair game tactics. Fair game encompasses a wide array of tactics aimed at neutralizing Scientology's critics. 1. Noisy investigations. Scientology operatives or hired private investigators conduct fake criminal investigations, contacting the target's neighbors, co-workers, and friends to spread false allegations. The purpose is to create fear, sow distrust, and damage reputations. 2. Black PR, black propaganda. A systematic smear campaign to destroy the target's public image through slander, libel, and fabricated allegations. Posters, online harassment, and false accusations are used to isolate and humiliate the target. 3. Surveillance and intimidation. Operatives follow targets, search their trash, and monitor their personal lives. In extreme cases, they confront targets at home, workplaces, or public spaces. 4. Economic sabotage. Efforts are made to cause targets their jobs or ruin their businesses by spreading false allegations, or organizing protests. Targets are financially crippled to force their silence. 5. Coercion before departure. Members attempting to leave Scientology must undergo costly interrogations and sign confessions of crimes, ensuring the organization retains leverage over them even after they depart. The role of the Office of Special Affairs, OSA. OSA operates as Scientology's intelligence agency, overseeing fair game operations. Its directives are to produce a dismissed attacker, a target who has been completely silenced. Operatives are trained in these practices and are tasked with ensuring that no critic escapes unscathed. Fair game in action. The reality of fair game is well documented through testimonies, legal cases, and public accounts. High-profile examples include Gabe Kazas, former Clearwater mayor, subjected to harassment and defamation campaigns. Paulette Cooper, journalist, framed for crimes and relentlessly harassed. Mike Rinder, former head of OSA, after escaping Scientology in 2007, he and his family became ongoing targets of fair game. Ron Miscavige, father of the Scientology leader, after introducing his son to Scientology, Ron Miscavige left the organization and became one of its most vocal critics. Despite his familial ties, Ron Miscavige was subjected to relentless harassment, including surveillance and being followed by private investigators, which continued until his passing in 2021. His story highlights how even close relatives of Scientology leadership are not immune to the organization's fair game tactics. Jerry Armstrong, a former Scientology archivist. Jerry Armstrong became a target of intense fair game tactics after leaving the organization and speaking out. Armstrong faced multiple lawsuits, relentless surveillance, assaults, theft of personal property, and a campaign of defamation through black PR, propaganda designed to destroy his reputation. Scientology operatives even attempted to have him prosecuted on false charges, and orchestrated covert intelligence operations against him, making his case one of the most notorious examples of fair game in action. Ongoing practice despite claims of discontinuation. Although Scientology claims to have discontinued fair game in 1968, internal directives reveal that only the use of the term fair game was officially ceased. The underlying practices remain intact and active to this day. As stated in the 1968 policy letter, the practice of declaring people fair game will cease. Fair game may not appear on any ethics order. It causes bad public relations. This PL does not cancel any policy on the treatment or handling of an SP, suppressive person. This strategic wording effectively conceals the continuation of fair game practices, enabling Scientology to relentlessly target critics, whistleblowers, and perceived enemies under the guise of suppressive person, SP, designations. A system of fear and control. Mike Rinder summarized fair game with the observation: "The real way to tell the difference between a religion and a cult is what happens to you after you leave." Scientology's fair game policy ensures that anyone who dares to dissent or speak out is met with relentless harassment, social isolation, and professional sabotage. This culture of fear enforces control over current members and deters others from exposing the organization's practices. For an organization that claims to promote spiritual freedom, fair game reveals a system deeply entrenched in coercion, manipulation, and retribution. Is there any other religion that does such things? The curious source of smear campaigns. An intriguing aspect of fair game tactics is that negative attacks on the target often originate exclusively from Scientology or those tied to it. Whether the attacks come from Scientology members, associates, or private investigators hired by the organization, the targeted individual or group frequently maintains a positive reputation outside Scientology's sphere of influence. This consistent, singular source of criticism raises an important question. If the only negative narrative originates from Scientology and its affiliates, does it reveal more about the organization itself than about the target?